So let's kind of, with that, shift to the second major component of reform. I'm sorry if I'm going fast. I'm just trying to cover a lot of material. And if you all have questions, we can certainly slow down and parse it all out. But the second major component of reform is the creation of healthcare exchanges. And basically an exchange is a fancy way of saying a web-based marketplace that's going to be set up by the state where you can find out information about insurance plans as well as purchase health insurance. So in New Mexico, you'd go to this website and you'd be able to see all of the health insurance plans that are offered here in the state of New Mexico. Blue Cross, Loveless, Presbyterian, all laid out side by side. You'd get to see exactly what benefits are covered in each plan, what the premium and what the deductible are for everyone, including those with pre-existing conditions. So you get to see everything side by side. This is obviously to make information more transparent and as well as to empower you as the consumer to make educated choices for you and your families. Think about how insurance is done now. When you're picking a plan, how does it work? How do you pick a plan? Even if you get it through an employer. I was actually looking at it yesterday. I was trying to pick my plan because it's open season now for federal employees, and it's unbelievable. Because you look at this PDF that could be like anywhere from 33 to 1,000 pages, and you're trying to compare what it's actually going to cost, and you're trying to figure out whether Loveless's gold plan matches up with Blue Cross's silver plan and the Silver Slippers plan, and you're kind of going between these huge PDFs, or you're going between books and you're trying to make comparisons. And it's actually one of the things that is pretty purposeful in the sense that it's very confusing to the consumer. And by keeping information separate, it disempowers the consumer because eventually you get so fed up with it that you often say, heck with this, I'm just going to buy this plan. That may not be the best thing for you or your family, but I think many of us have been in that situation. So the idea of the exchange is they'll all be laid out side by side and it'll have all the bare bones in terms of what do you need to know compared right there, you know, on a website. I mean, I think in a lot of ways we do this in a lot of the consumer market. You know, whether you're looking at TVs from Best Buy, you can actually have that option to compare numerous TVs side by side. Question is, why weren't we doing that with insurance companies? A lot of other places have been doing that, and we're saying on a national level, that's a good thing for consumers to have at their fingertips. The other thing you get to see is the medical loss ratio. How many are you familiar with this term? It's a really interesting term. It's known as MLR, or medical loss ratio. And it's basically the exact ratio of what insurance companies are actually spending on care contrasted against the money that is spent on CEO salaries, profits, and administration. So on the website, you look at the exchange and say you look at Blue Cross's plan and it says 80-20. That means 80 cents on every single dollar is spent for your actual care. 20 cents is spent on Blue Cross's administration, CEO, profits, salaries, whatever. You get to see that as the consumer now for the first time in our history, which is important because now you actually know how much of your dollar is going to your care. The other thing that's important is the exchange has a mechanism that's regulatory. It says for most plans, and the state of New Mexico has actually also passed side-by-side legislation, it's saying for most plans the ratio has to be 80-20 for individuals or say 85-15 for small businesses and 80-20 for large employers. No ratio can go, I know, below 80 cents in terms of the coverage that is actually going to you. Does that make sense? So there's a minimum floor that's set. The state has actually gone beyond the federal law in some cases and said we want to set higher floors, which states can do, to say we want more money to go to your care. The feds is actually a little more stringent in one category and the state is more stringent in the other. The most important thing for New Mexicans to realize is that the most stringent form of the law in terms of protecting the consumer will be applied. So this is huge. This is huge because you get to see how much money is actually spent on your care. And that'll also inform you as a consumer to making the choice. You may end up saying, look, Blue Cross is a little bit more expensive, but they spend 85 cents on my care. I want to reward them for actually spending more money on my care as opposed to going for the cheaper insurance, but is only sending 80 cents on my care. And you can also certainly ask the insurance companies, how come? You know, you're more expensive, and how's this working out? The other thing that's nice is that the exchange has a regulatory mechanism to say, if the insurance company tries to get away with spending less money on your care, there's a regulatory mechanism that says they can't do that. That is against the law. That regulator of the exchange will actually require that insurance company to cut you a check like a dividend at the end of the month for anyone who's partaking in those plans. You know, they're saying you can't go below this floor. We're going to actually make you pay your consumers back if you try to. So, which is huge. Also, you know, the point is to compare plans, see the medical loss ratio. The other thing that the exchange is going to do is it's going to act as a gateway. So you're going to get on it, you're going to type in your name and your social security number. It's going to ping the IRS and pull up your most recent income information. And it's going to determine whether you're eligible for Medicare, Medicaid, or any other kind of government program. Why is that big in New Mexico? Part of the difficulty with, say, Medicaid is getting uptake. making sure that people are actually enrolled. So they can actually get onto this exchange and say, it says, okay, your income level is this, you qualify for Medicaid based on your income level. We are going to contact the state Medicaid office to make sure that you get enrolled in Medicaid. So it's going to be a gateway. A lot of other countries and a lot of other states, actually Massachusetts is already kind of doing this. It's going to be huge with regard to enrollment. Also on the exchange, you're going to get to take advantage of tax credits. You'll get to see whether, based on your income, you qualify for a tax credit to help offset the cost of your health insurance. So, for example, what is it? They call them advanced refundable tax credits. What does that mean? It's basically a front-end subsidy that's going to help everyday New Mexicans pay for their health insurance. So it's going to be up to, let's see, for a family of 4 with making $88,000 or less, in the state of New Mexico, they're going to qualify for some kind of subsidy. And what that would mean, say you ping the IRS, they pull up your income information, it says you qualify for a subsidy, you pick out your health insurance on the exchange, and it says your subsidy was $12, you were supposed to pay $50, now you actually only owe $38. It takes it right off the top, you don't handle any of the money, they did that to avoid fraud and other issues, but it goes right to the insurance company, you don't handle any of it, and it actually makes your insurance cheaper. And the exchange is going to be able to do that as well. So for small businesses, what's the benefit of the exchange? You actually have your own part of the exchange. Small businesses can actually be pooled together. This is a really novel concept. Why is that important? Well, think about the way insurance companies sometimes deal with small business. They keep the pools apart, right? Sorry. They keep the pools apart. If you're a small business, say you have, maybe 5 employees and another small business has 5 employees, they may keep you totally separate, or they may combine you and you only have 10 employees in that pool. What happens when one person gets sick? Everybody's rate goes up, and they can jack it up in the middle of actually, your plan year. We've seen that happen. The exchange is going to say, we want all the small businesses to be pulled together. That way, when one person gets sick, but you're in a pool of 20,000 other people, it's going to be really helpful because that's going to be offset. So, it allows for pooling. The other thing that's nice about the exchange is anyone who's in small business knows that oftentimes the biggest headache they have to deal with is the HR side of things in terms of what benefits their employees are actually getting, helping them navigate the healthcare plans, helping them appeal different things. The exchange can be really beneficial because small businesses can send their employees to the exchange and say, all the information is right here, pick a plan, we're going to help you pay for it if you want. It's all right here on this kind of central website. We don't have to deal with as much HR headache of having you flip through all the books and look with you. So we've talked to a lot of small business owners who really like the idea of exchange. And actually, you've seen there's a letter from 41 economists that are huge on the exchange because they see this as empowering consumers, helping consumers make better choices, and promoting healthy market competition, and also being really beneficial to small business in America because it